The space station shook like a toy in the hands of an angry child. Captain Jake Morrison held onto his coffee cup and watched the brown liquid slosh around. He was tired. He had been flying cargo ships for 10 years now, and today was supposed to be easy. Drop off supplies, pick up payment, go home. But nothing was ever easy anymore. All ships. All ships. The voice came through his radio. It sounded scared. This is Galactic Station 7. We have an emergency. Please help us. Jake set down his coffee and looked out the window of his small ship. The station was huge, bigger than most cities on Earth. It was where all the different alien races met to talk and trade. Right now, it looked like a beehive that someone had kicked. Ships were flying away from the station as fast as they could go. Some were on fire. Others looked like they had been torn apart by giant claws. Jake had never seen anything like it. What the hell is going on out there? He said to himself. The radio crackled again. This time it was a different voice. This one belonged to Commander Amy Liu, a human who worked with the alien government. Jake knew her. She was tough and smart. If she sounded scared, then something was really wrong. "Jake, are you there?" she said. "We need you to dock right now. Do not ask questions. Just get here." Jake pushed the buttons that made his ship go faster. "I'm coming, Amy. What's happening?" "Queen Vexithera is awake," Amy said. The words made Jake's radio go quiet for a moment. Then every alien voice started talking at once, all of them sounding terrified. Jake had heard stories about Queen Vexithera. Everyone in space had heard stories. She was supposed to be some kind of monster that could control minds. The stories said she had been sleeping for 1,000 years. Jake had always thought they were just stories to scare kids. He docked his ship and walked into the station. What he saw made him stop and stare. Hundreds of aliens were lying on the floor. They were not dead, but they were not moving either. Their eyes were open, but they looked empty, like no one was home inside their heads. Some aliens were still standing, but they were shaking like leaves in a storm. A tall blue alien with 4 arms was crying. A small green one was rocking back and forth, making little scared noises. Jake walked over to a group of humans who were trying to help the aliens. Amy was there, along with a few other people Jake knew. "What happened to them?" Jake asked. "She reached out with her mind," Amy said. "Just a little touch and they all fell down like this." Every single alien on the station. Jake looked around. It was true. Every alien was either on the floor or acting crazy with fear. But all the humans looked fine. "Why are we okay?" Jake asked. "We don't know," Amy said. "Maybe humans are different somehow." A small alien with big eyes grabbed Jake's arm. It was shaking so hard Jake thought it might break apart. "She comes," it whispered. "The Shadow Queen comes. She will eat our minds and make us her slaves. We must run. We must hide." "Hey, it's okay," Jake said. He knelt down so he was at the same height as the alien. "What's your name?" "I am Zeftor," the alien said. "I speak for the Altair people. But soon I will speak for no one. Soon I will only speak her words." "Listen, Zeftor," Jake said. "I don't know who this queen lady is, but you're safe here. We won't let anything happen to you." Zeftor looked at Jake like he was crazy. "You do not understand. She destroyed the Krillian Empire in one day. The Krillians are the strongest warriors in the galaxy. They have never lost a battle. But when she touched their minds, they all put down their weapons and walked into her ships." Amy pulled Jake aside. "It's true, Jake. We're getting reports from all over the galaxy. Entire worlds are surrendering without a fight. She doesn't even have to show up. She just reaches out with her mind and everyone gives up." "How is that possible?" Jake asked. "We don't know. But whatever she does, it doesn't work on humans. You walked in here like nothing was wrong. Every other human on the station is fine too. But look at them." Amy pointed at the aliens. "They're all terrified just hearing her name." Jake looked around again. It was strange. He had seen scared people before, but this was different. The aliens looked like they had seen the end of the world. "So where is she now?" Jake asked. "Her ships are moving through the outer systems," Amy said. "Each one is the size of a moon. They're alive somehow, made of flesh and metal. They eat everything in their path and grow bigger. And she's controlling all of this with her mind? That's what the reports say. She doesn't even need to give orders. Everyone just knows what she wants them to do." Jake picked up his coffee cup and took a sip. It was cold now, but he didn't care. "Well," he said, "that's a problem." Amy stared at him. "That's all you have to say? The most powerful being in the galaxy is coming to destroy everything. And you say it's a problem?" Jake shrugged. "I've had worse days. Remember when the cargo bay door broke and I had to fix it while flying through an asteroid field? That was a problem too. Around them, aliens were moaning and crying. Some were praying to their gods. Others were trying to send messages to their families to say goodbye. But Jake just stood there drinking his cold coffee and thinking. He didn't look scared. He didn't even look worried. He looked like a man who was trying to figure out the best way to fix a broken engine. And that, though no one knew it yet, was exactly what the galaxy needed. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had been studying alien minds for 15 years. She thought she understood how different species thought and felt, but what she saw on the space station made no sense at all. Run the test again, she told her assistant. They were in the medical bay, and Jake was sitting on a table while machines beeped and hummed around him. Doc, this is the 5th time, Jake said. Can I get some food after this? I haven't eaten since breakfast. Elena looked at the screen that showed Jake's brain activity. The numbers were normal. Everything was normal. That was the problem. Jake, I'm going to play a recording for you, she said. It's from one of Queen Vexithara's ships. Just her voice. Are you ready? Sure, Jake said. Elena pressed a button. A sound came from the speakers that made everyone in the room except Jake fall to their knees. It was like a voice, but not really. It was the sound of nightmares and fear and things that lived in the dark. The alien assistant started crying. Elena's human helpers looked sick and scared. But Jake just tilted his head like he was listening to music he didn't like. Is that it? He asked when the recording stopped. Elena helped her assistant stand up. 2 of them ran out of the room. Jake, that recording has made grown warriors wet themselves. How do you feel? Kind of annoyed, Jake said. It reminds me of the sound my neighbor's dog makes when it wants food. Can we be done now? My stomach is growling. While Elena tried to understand Jake, reports kept coming in from across the galaxy. Queen Vexithara's ships had reached 12 more star systems. Each time the same thing happened. The Queen would send out her mental call and every living thing would either collapse in terror or walk onto her ships like sleepwalkers. General Ben Carter from Earth Defense was on the station now. He was a big man with gray hair who had fought in 3 wars. He looked tired and worried. How many ships does she have now? He asked Amy. Over 2,000, Amy said, and they keep growing. Every ship and weapon she captures becomes part of her fleet. Every person becomes part of her army. What about resistance? Someone must be fighting back. The Zephyrian battle fleet tried, Amy said. 50,000 ships. They lasted 3 minutes. As soon as they got close enough for her mental reach, they all turned their weapons on each other. In the corner of the room, Zeftor was talking to other surviving alien leaders. They were making plans to run away, to hide their people in distant galaxies where the Queen might never find them. We should have listened to the old warnings, Zeftor said. Our ancestors knew. They told us never to wake the one who sleeps in shadows, but we thought they were just stories. Prime Minister Kethvar of the Altarian Republic was there too. He was an old alien who looked like a cross between a tree and a person. His hands shook when he tried to hold his water glass. My people are already gone, he said. I was visiting the station when she called to them. By the time I got home, they were all walking toward her ships. My own children looked at me with empty eyes and told me to come with them. Jake walked into the room eating a sandwich. He had finally gotten his food from the station cafeteria. He sat down next to the alien leaders like he was joining friends for lunch. So what's the plan? He asked. The aliens stared at him. Plan? Kethvar said. Young human, there is no plan. We run or we die. Those are the only choices. That seems kind of giving up, Jake said. What if we just went and talked to her? Every alien in the room made a noise like Jake had suggested jumping into a star. You cannot talk to Queen Vexithara, Zeftor said. She does not talk. She commands. She takes. She consumes. But what if she's just misunderstood? Jake asked. I mean, maybe she's not as bad as everyone thinks. General Carter pulled Jake aside. Son, I appreciate your confidence, but this isn't like dealing with a difficult customer. This thing has destroyed entire civilizations. I know, Jake said, but someone should at least try talking to her before we all run away. Maybe she has a good reason for what she's doing. Elena came running into the room with her test results. I figured it out, she said. Jake isn't immune to her power because he's special. He's immune because he's human. What do you mean? Amy asked. I tested all the humans on the station, Elena said. Every single one of them reacts the same way Jake does. The Queen's mental power doesn't work on humans at all. Why not? General Carter asked. I think it's because of how human brains work, Elena said. The Queen's power attacks the fear centers of the brain. It makes people so scared they can't think straight. But human brains are weird. When we get really scared, we don't shut down. We get stubborn. Stubborn? Seftor asked. It's hard to explain, Elena said. But humans have this thing where the worse things get, the more they want to fight back. Other species have survival instincts that tell them to run or hide. Humans have survival instincts that tell them to punch the problem in the face. Jake nodded. That sounds about right. When my ex-wife tried to take half my stuff in the divorce, I didn't give up. I fought harder. The room went quiet as everyone thought about this. Then alarms started going off. She's coming, Amy said, looking at her computer screen. Queen Vexithera's main fleet just entered this system. She'll be here in 6 hours. Panic spread through the station like fire. Aliens ran to their ships trying to escape, but many of them were already falling down as the Queen's mental reach got stronger. We have to go, Kethavar said. We must warn the other survivors. Wait, Jake said. This might be our chance. Our chance to what? General Carter asked. To meet her, Jake said. She's coming here anyway. Instead of running away, why don't we say hello? Every alien in the room looked at Jake like he had lost his mind. Even the humans looked worried. Jake, Amy said carefully, she's not coming here to chat. She's coming here to turn us all into her slaves. Maybe, Jake said. Or maybe she's coming here because she wants to know why her power doesn't work on humans. Maybe she's curious. That's a hell of a risk to take, General Carter said. Jake finished his sandwich and stood up. Everything's a risk. But running away from problems never fixed anything. Someone needs to stay here and see what she actually wants. And you think that someone should be you? Elena asked. Why not? Jake said, I'm not scared of her. Maybe that's what she needs to see. Someone who isn't afraid. Outside the station's windows, the first of Queen Vexithara's ships appeared in the distance. They looked like living things made of metal and flesh, moving through space like giant sea creatures swimming through water. And on the station, while everyone else prepared to run or hide, Jake Morrison went to get another sandwich and wait for the most feared being in the galaxy to arrive. The message reached Earth 3 days after Queen Vexithara's ships entered the station's system. Admiral Lisa Park was in her office when it came through. She had been expecting bad news, but this was worse than anything she could have imagined. The entire galactic government is asking for our help, her assistant said. Every species, every world that's still free. They're all looking to Earth. Lisa played the message from Amy Liu on the space station. Amy looked tired and scared, but she was still trying to do her job. Admiral Park, this is Commander Liu. The situation has changed. Queen Vexithara has taken control of most of the galaxy. Her mind control doesn't work on humans, but it works on everyone else. We might be the only hope left. The message showed pictures of the Queen's ships. They were huge dark things that looked like they were alive. Some were the size of cities. Others were bigger than moons. There are over 10,000 of these ships now. Amy's voice continued. Each one carries millions of people who used to be free but now serve the Queen. They don't fight for her because they want to. They fight because they can't think for themselves anymore. Lisa paused the message and called for an emergency meeting. Within an hour, she was sitting in a room with the most important people on Earth. The president was there, along with generals, scientists, and other leaders. So let me understand this, the president said. Every other intelligent species in the galaxy has been enslaved by this queen, but humans are immune. That's what the reports say, Lisa answered. Dr. Rodriguez on the station thinks it's because of how our brains work. We get stubborn instead of scared. And they want us to save the galaxy? They're asking for our help. But I don't know what we can do. We have maybe 1,000 ships total. She has 10,000, and they're all bigger than ours. While the leaders talked, news of the crisis spread across Earth. The story was on every TV channel and website. Most people were scared. Some were excited, but many were angry. Tech specialist Ryan Walsh was in his apartment when he saw the news. He had worked on space communications for 10 years. When he heard that aliens needed help, he didn't think about how dangerous it was. He thought about how to fix the problem. I'm volunteering, he told his wife over dinner. Volunteering for what? She asked. To go help. They need people who can't be mind-controlled. That's us. His wife stared at him. Ryan, they're talking about fighting against someone who conquered the entire galaxy. I know, Ryan said. But someone has to do something, and it sounds like we're the only ones who can. Lieutenant Grace Stevens was at her Marine base when the call for volunteers came. She had been a soldier for 8 years and had seen action on 3 different worlds. When her commanding officer asked who wanted to join a mission to fight Queen Vexithera, Grace was the first to raise her hand. "Do you understand what you're volunteering for?" her commander asked. "Yes, sir," Grace said. "Someone needs to show these aliens that humans don't give up." "This isn't a normal mission, Stevens. This is probably a suicide mission." "Probably," Grace agreed. "But it's the right thing to do." Back on the space station, Jake was still waiting. Most of the aliens had left, but a few stayed to send messages to Earth. They wanted to warn humans about what was coming. "You should leave too," Zeftor told Jake. "The Queen will be here soon. When she arrives, anyone who stays will become her slave." "Except humans," Jake said. "Right? Her power doesn't work on us." "That is what the tests show," Zeftor said. "But tests can be wrong. Maybe she just hasn't tried hard enough yet." Jake was fixing a broken coffee machine in the station's cafeteria when Elena found him. She had been working day and night trying to understand why humans were different. "Jake, I think I know why Queen Vexithera is coming here," she said. "To take over the station?" Jake asked, not looking up from the machine. "No, I think she's coming because of you. Because of humans. She's never met anyone who wasn't afraid of her. She doesn't understand why her power doesn't work on us. So she's curious? Maybe, or maybe she's angry. Either way, she's coming straight here instead of taking over other systems first. That's not her usual pattern." Jake got the coffee machine working and poured himself a cup. "Well, I guess we'll find out what she wants when she gets here." "Jake, listen to me," Elena said. "I've been studying the data from her previous conquests. She always takes over the leadership first. The generals, the politicians, the smart people. She makes them into her servants so they can help her control everyone else." "That makes sense," Jake said. "But what if she can't take over the leadership? What if the people in charge are immune to her power?" Jake stopped drinking his coffee. "Then she can't control the army either." "Exactly. If humans led a fight against her, she couldn't just take over the commanders and make them surrender. She'd have to actually fight. And maybe," Jake said slowly, "she doesn't remember how to fight fair. Maybe she's forgotten how to win without cheating." The next day, Earth's response arrived. It wasn't an army. It was a small group of volunteers in a converted cargo ship. Ryan Walsh was there to handle communications. Grace Stevens led a team of Marines. A few other specialists came along, including Chief Engineer Sam Martinez and Dr. Claire Thompson. Jake met them at the docking bay. "Welcome to the party," he said. "You guys are either very brave or very stupid." "Probably both," Grace said. "Are you the guy who's not afraid of the scary alien queen?" "That's me," Jake said. "Though I prefer to think of it as being too stubborn to be scared." Ryan set up his equipment and immediately started trying to contact Queen Vexithera's ships. "If we're going to talk to her, we need to get her attention first." "I don't think that'll be a problem," Sam said, looking out the window. "Check this out." Everyone turned to look. In the distance, a ship was approaching that was bigger than anything they had ever seen. It was black and purple, with parts that moved like muscles under skin. Strange lights pulsed along its surface like a heartbeat. "That's her flagship," Elena said. "She's here." "Good," Jake said. I was getting bored waiting. The humans around him stared like he was crazy. Even after everything they had heard, they couldn't believe someone could be so calm about meeting the terror of the galaxy. But Jake just finished his coffee and headed toward the docking bay. "Come on," he said. "Let's go say hello. Maybe she's friendlier than everyone thinks." Grace grabbed her weapon and followed him. "You know this is insane, right?" "Everything's insane," Jake said. "That doesn't mean we stop trying." And as Queen Vexithera's massive ship moved closer to the station, a small group of humans prepared to do something that no one in the galaxy thought was possible. They were going to walk up to the most feared being alive and try to have a conversation. It would either be the bravest thing anyone had ever done, or the last thing they would ever do. But they were human, so they were going to try anyway. Queen Vexithera's ship was like nothing Jake had ever seen. The walls looked alive, breathing slowly in and out. Strange purple lights moved through tubes that looked like veins. The floor felt warm under his feet, and sometimes it moved a little like he was walking on the back of a sleeping animal. "This is really weird," Grace said, keeping her weapon ready. She and the other humans had insisted on coming with Jake even though he said he could handle it alone. "It's just different," Jake said. "My ex-wife's apartment was weirder than this. Ryan was recording everything with his equipment. "The ship's computer systems are biological," he said. "They're not machines. They're living things." Dr. Claire Thompson was scanning the air with her medical equipment. "The atmosphere is safe to breathe," she said. "But there are strange chemicals in the air. They might be designed to make people feel afraid." "Is it working?" Jake asked. Claire checked her readings. "On the aliens, yes. Their fear levels are off the charts. But you humans are reading normal." They walked through corridors that curved and twisted like the inside of a giant shell. Sometimes they passed rooms full of aliens who stood perfectly still, staring at nothing. These were the Queen's servants, people who had been taken from their worlds and homes. "Look at their eyes," Grace whispered. "There's nobody home." Jake stopped to look at one of them, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. "Hey," Jake said. "You okay?" The alien turned to look at Jake. For just a moment, its eyes seemed to clear up. It opened its mouth like it wanted to say something. But then the purple lights in the walls pulsed and the alien's eyes went empty again. "She's controlling them constantly," Claire said. "Their minds are completely suppressed." They reached the center of the ship where a huge door waited for them. It was covered with symbols that hurt to look at directly. Sam Martinez, the engineer, checked his scanner. "Whatever's behind that door, it's putting out a lot of energy," he said. "Mental energy." "That would be the Queen," Jake said. He walked up to the door and knocked on it like he was visiting a neighbor. The door melted away like water. The room inside was enormous. The ceiling was so high Jake couldn't see it in the dim light. In the center of the room was a throne made of what looked like black crystal and bone. And on the throne sat Queen Vexithera. Jake had expected her to be big, but not this big. She was at least 12 feet tall, with skin that looked like it was made of shadows and starlight. Her face was beautiful and terrible at the same time. When she moved, reality seemed to bend around her. Grace and the others fell to their knees as soon as they saw her. Even the humans couldn't completely resist her presence this close. But Jake just stood there looking up at her. "Well," he said, "you're definitely taller than I expected." Queen Vexithara stared down at him. When she spoke, her voice came from everywhere at once like thunder made of words. "You are the anomaly," she said. "The one who does not fear." "I'm Jake," Jake said. "Nice to meet you. You must be the Queen everyone's so worried about." The Queen leaned forward on her throne. "I am Vexithara, Empress of the Void, Devourer of Light, she who walks between stars. All things fear me. All minds bow before me. Except yours?" "Yeah, I heard about that," Jake said. "Mind if I sit down? It's been a long day." There was a small piece of the throne that stuck out like a chair. Jake sat down on it without asking permission. Queen Vexithera looked shocked. Probably no one had ever sat on her throne before. "You dare to make yourself comfortable in my presence?" she asked. "Well, standing up for a long conversation is bad for my back," Jake said. "So what's this all about? Why are you taking over the galaxy?" The Queen's eyes began to glow with purple fire. "I do not answer to lesser beings." "Sure you do," Jake said. I asked a question. "It's polite to answer." Queen Vexithera raised her hand and Jake felt something try to push into his mind. It was like someone trying to force their way into his house, but Jake had lived alone for years and was used to keeping unwanted visitors out. "That's kind of rude," Jake said. "I don't go poking around in your head." The Queen pushed harder. Jake felt pressure behind his eyes, like the start of a headache. But instead of fear, he just felt annoyed. "Are you done yet?" he asked. "Because this is starting to bug me." Queen Vexithera stood up from her throne. She was even bigger standing up. Power flowed around her like a hurricane made of darkness. When she spoke, the walls of the ship shook. "How do you resist me?" she demanded. "I have broken the minds of gods. I have made emperors crawl at my feet. I have turned heroes into slaves with a thought." "Why do you not kneel?" Jake thought about it seriously. "Well, I grew up with 3 older sisters who used to beat me up every day. Then I worked retail for 5 years, which is basically psychological warfare. After that, I got married to someone who criticized everything I did for 10 years. So I guess you could say I've built up an immunity to people trying to mess with my head." The Queen stared at him. "You compare me to your family?" "Not exactly," Jake said. "You're probably nicer than my sister Michelle. She once made me cry by telling me my haircut looked stupid." For the first time in 1,000 years, Queen Vexithera didn't know what to say. Jake looked around the throne room. "This is a nice place you've got here. A little dark for my taste, but everyone has their style. Must get lonely, though." "Lonely?" The Queen's voice was quieter now. Yeah. I mean, when everyone's too scared to talk to you, who do you have conversations with? Do you have friends? I do not need friends, the queen said. I have servants. I have slaves. I have an empire that spans the galaxy. But do you have anyone you can just talk to? Jake asked. Someone who tells you when you're wrong or makes jokes or asks how your day was? The queen sat back down on her throne. For a moment, she looked less like a cosmic horror and more like a very tired person. I had friends once, she said quietly, long ago. Before I became what I am now. What happened to them? They died. The queen's voice was sad now instead of angry. All of them. My people, my world, everything I cared about. Gone while I slept, Jake leaned forward. That's terrible. I'm sorry. You are sorry. The queen looked confused. You pity me? Well, yeah. Losing everyone you care about is the worst thing that can happen to someone. No wonder you're angry. I am not angry, the queen said quickly. I am powerful. I am feared. I am lonely, Jake finished. You're lonely, and you're trying to make new friends, but the only way you know how is to force people to be with you. Queen Vexithara was quiet for a long time. Around them, the ship hummed and pulsed like a living heart. They all run away, she said finally. As soon as they see me, they run away. So I make them stay. I make them listen to me. But they're not really listening, Jake said. Are they? When you control someone's mind, you're not talking to them anymore. You're just talking to yourself. The queen looked down at her hands. I had forgotten, she said. I had forgotten what it was like to have someone listen by choice. Jake stood up and walked closer to the throne. So why don't you try a different way? Instead of making people afraid, try making them want to be your friend. I do not know how, the queen admitted. I have been alone for so long. I only remember how to command. It's not that hard, Jake said. You start by asking people what they want instead of telling them what to do. Queen Vexithara looked at Jake like he had just explained how to fly by flapping his arms. And if I do this, she said slowly, if I learn to be friendly, will you stay and talk with me? Will you be my friend? Jake smiled. Sure. But first you have to let all those people go. Real friends don't keep slaves. The queen was quiet again. Around the ship, Jake could hear things changing. The purple lights were dimming. The feeling of fear in the air was getting weaker. Very well, Queen Vexithara said. I will try your way. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy's greatest terror was about to learn how to make a friend. 6 months later, Jake was back on his cargo ship. But things were very different now. Instead of carrying ordinary supplies, he was delivering diplomatic messages between different worlds. His ship had been upgraded with new alien technology, but he still preferred to drink coffee from his old mug. Incoming message from Vera, his new communication system announced. The voice belonged to Ryan Walsh, who had helped design the new setup. Jake smiled when he heard the name. Queen Vexithara had decided she didn't like her old title anymore. She said it sounded too scary. After trying several different names, she had settled on Vera, which she thought sounded friendly. Put her through, Jake said. The screen in front of him lit up, and Vera's face appeared. She had learned to make herself look smaller and less frightening when talking to people. She was still 12 feet tall, but now she seemed more like a very tall person than a cosmic horror. Hello, Jake, she said. How are you today? Not bad, Jake said. Just finished delivering some trade agreements to the Altair system. How are you doing? I am well, Vera said. I helped solve a disagreement between the Zephyrians and the Krillians today. They were arguing about mining rights, but we found a solution that makes both sides happy. Jake grinned. Look at you being all diplomatic. I'm proud of you, Vera smiled back. It had taken her months to learn how to smile in a way that didn't terrify people. Thank you. I could not have learned this without your help. It hadn't been easy. In the weeks after their first meeting, Vera had tried to change, but old habits were hard to break. She had released all her mind-controlled slaves, but then didn't know what to do with herself. For the first time in 1,000 years, she was completely alone. Jake had stayed with her during those difficult first days. He taught her simple things like how to have a conversation without commanding people, and how to ask for things instead of taking them. The trick, he had told her, is to remember that other people have feelings too. Before you do something, ask yourself how you would feel if someone did it to you. But I am more powerful than they are, Vera had said. Why should I care about their feelings? Because being powerful doesn't make you right, Jake had explained. My boss at the shipping company has power over me, but that doesn't mean he gets to treat me badly. Good people use their power to help others, not hurt them. The hardest part had been dealing with all the people who had been hurt by Vera's actions. Millions of beings had been enslaved or had their homes destroyed. Many of them wanted revenge. Ambassador Kate Williams, a diplomat from Earth, had helped organize meetings between Vera and the representatives of different worlds. Kate was good at getting angry people to sit down and talk instead of fighting. I know you're angry, Kate had told a group of alien leaders. But Vera wants to make things right. She can't bring back the people who died, but she can help rebuild what was destroyed. Why should we trust her? Kethvar had asked. He was still the leader of what remained of the Altarian people. She destroyed our worlds. She enslaved our children. Because she's trying to change, Kate had said, and because staying angry won't bring anyone back. It had taken time, but slowly, Vera had earned the trust of some of the people she had wronged. She used her massive ships to help rebuild destroyed cities. She shared her advanced technology to help heal people who had been hurt. Most importantly, she learned to say, "I'm sorry," and really mean it. Professor Matt Chen, a xenopsychologist who had been studying Vera's transformation, called it the most remarkable change he had ever seen. She's essentially learning to be a person instead of a force of nature, he had told Jake. It's like watching a hurricane. Learn to be a gentle breeze now. Vera worked as a mediator for the Galactic Council. When different species had arguments they couldn't solve, they called her. Her mental abilities, when used carefully, could help her understand what people really wanted, even when they couldn't say it themselves. I have a question for you, Jake, Vera said during their conversation. The Corellian and Hegemony are having a dispute about trade routes. Both sides are being stubborn. How do you think I should approach this? Jake thought about it. What do they both want? The Corellians want to use the shorter route through Hegemony space because it saves time. The Hegemony wants to charge fees for using their territory because they need money for repairs after what I did to their systems. Sounds like they both have good points, Jake said. Maybe you can help them find a way to share the benefits. The Corellians save time, the Hegemony gets money, everybody wins. That is a good idea, Vera said. You always think of solutions that help everyone. It's not that hard once you get used to it, Jake said. Most problems happen because people think they have to choose between helping themselves or helping others. Usually you can do both. After they finished talking, Jake continued on his route. His next stop was a space station where Vera was scheduled to give a speech to some young aliens about conflict resolution. When Jake arrived, he found the station buzzing with activity. Hundreds of young beings from dozens of different species had come to hear Vera speak. A year ago, they would have run screaming from her presence. Now they were excited to meet her. Vera was in a small room behind the auditorium, looking nervous. Even after all this time, she still got worried about talking to large groups. What if they don't like what I say? She asked Jake. What if I say the wrong thing? Then you apologize and try again, Jake said. That's what everyone else does. But I used to be feared throughout the galaxy. What if they remember that? They do remember, Jake said. But they also remember that you changed. That's what makes your story powerful. You show them that anyone can become better than they used to be. Vera took a deep breath. Thank you, Jake, for everything. I know I have said this before, but I want you to know that you saved me from becoming a monster forever. You saved yourself, Jake said. I just pointed you in the right direction. Vera walked onto the stage and the young aliens applauded. Not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to. She began to speak about her life, about the mistakes she had made, and about how she had learned to change. I used to think that being powerful meant making others afraid, she told them. But real power comes from helping others become stronger. Real power comes from friendship and understanding. One young alien raised her hand. How do you become friends with someone who hurt you? Vera thought carefully before answering. It is not easy. It takes time and patience. You start by listening to them and trying to understand why they are in pain. Most people who hurt others are hurting inside themselves. Another alien asked, what if someone doesn't want to change? Then you can't force them, Vera said. Change has to come from inside. All you can do is show them a better way and hope they choose to follow it. After the speech, Jake and Vera had dinner together at the station's restaurant. It was a small place that served food from a dozen different worlds. Vera had learned to enjoy trying new things, something she had never done during her years as a conqueror. I received a message from Earth today, Vera said. They are inviting me to visit your homeworld. That's great, Jake said. You'll love Earth, we have really good coffee there. I am nervous, Vera admitted. What if your people do not like me? Some of them probably won't, Jake said honestly. But most of them will. Humans like second chances. We like stories about people who change for the better. Even when the person used to be the most feared being in the galaxy? Especially then, Jake said. The bigger the change, the more impressive it is. As they finished their meal, Jake's communicator beeped. It was a message from the Galactic Council asking if Vera could help with a crisis on the edge of known space. A group of worlds were threatening to go to war over a misunderstanding. Duty calls, Jake said. Vera stood up, but then she paused. Jake, do you ever regret meeting me? Your life was simpler before, Jake thought about it. 6 months ago, he had been a simple cargo pilot with a boring life. Now he was friends with a former galactic terror and helped solve conflicts between alien civilizations. No, he said finally. Simple isn't always better. And besides, someone had to teach you how to make friends. I'm glad it was me. I am glad it was you too, Vera said. As they prepared to leave for their next mission, Jake reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy was still healing from Vera's years of conquest, but it was healing. People were learning to trust again. Vera was learning to be part of the community instead of ruling over it. And Jake Morrison, cargo pilot from Earth, had learned that sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply treat someone like a person, even when they've forgotten how to be one. A year later, Jake received a birthday card in the mail. It was from Vera, and it had a picture of a small earth flower on the front. Inside, she had written, "Thank you for teaching me that friendship is the most powerful force in the universe. Happy birthday to my first and best friend." Jake smiled and put the card on his refrigerator next to the others she had sent. It was nice to know that even cosmic horrors remembered birthdays. In the end, the galaxy learned something important. The best way to defeat a monster isn't to fight it. Sometimes the best way is to show it how to stop being a monster and do